Welcome back to the Superdog Insights, where I take you through my journey in the ICU and connect it with my personal growth, introspection, and performance. I'm your host, Dr. Krishna Bharat, and today's episode is about something that has profoundly changed the way I approach both my work and my life: the parasympathetic zone. As human beings, we have evolved far beyond the survival instincts of our ancestors. They needed to rely on the sympathetic nervous system to stay alert, hunt, defend themselves, and survive. But as we have evolved, our needs have changed. We no longer rely on that constant state of fight or flight. Instead, we need to focus on the mental fitness, the cognitive sharpness, and the emotional resilience. So, in today's episode, I want to take you through my own experience of how I learned to activate the parasympathetic zone, why it's critical for peak performance, and how you can use it to transform your life too. Let me start with a personal story. During my MBBS days, I was like many of the students today. I waited for that last minute kick, the exam fever to kick in. I relied on the adrenaline rush to get through long study sessions. And like many, I managed to scrape through with grades that weren't my best, but they were enough to pass. But at what cost? My hair was falling from stress, my weight was fluctuating, and anxiety took over. Yet I kept doing it because, in short term, the adrenaline rush worked. It's funny, one of my mentors recently told me something profound. An addiction is anything that gives you short term pleasure but causes long term harm. And in a way, that adrenaline rush became an addiction, a vicious cycle. Society may warn you about substances like smoking and drinking, but no one talks about the adrenaline addiction or the dopamine addiction that many of us experience during the moments of high stress. When I started preparing for my competitive exams like NEET, things had to change. This wasn't like my MBBS exams where I could cram everything in the last few days. NEET preparation was a marathon. It required long term focus and resilience. The adrenaline rush I had relied on before wasn't enough. That's when I discovered the power of the parasympathetic zone. This is the system in our body that allows us to calm down, recover, and think clearly. It was only when I started practicing techniques like breath work, particularly box breathing, that I noticed a huge shift. I was more focused, I retained information better, and my performance skyrocketed. The need for constant revision disappeared because everything I learned in that calm, focused state stayed with me. Now, let me take you back to the ICU. The stress there is relentless. Life and death situations unfold daily, and the noise, both literal and mental, can be overwhelming. I have performed the same medical procedure under two very different conditions. The first, rushed, hurried, trying to push through with that sympathetic drive. The result, clumsy and not my best of work. The second, calm, steady, in control while activating my parasympathetic system. The difference: the calm approach is picture perfect, while the rushed approach leaves a lot to be desired. Both get results, but the emotional toll and the quality of work are worlds apart. It was in these moments I realized the true key to peak performance, whether in the ICU or in life. lies in the ability to activate your parasympathetic system or train yourself to keep constantly being in a parasympathetic state. So, how can you activate your parasympathetic system constantly, repeatedly, and overgrow the sympathetic drive that you inherently have? It's simpler than you might actually think, and it all starts with your breath. Here are a few techniques I have found incredibly effective. The box breathing. This is a simple yet powerful technique. Just stay grounded, take a deep breath in for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold again for 4. This technique is perfect for grounding yourself, especially in high stress situations. The Brahmari breathing. This is an ancient yogic practice that uses a gentle humming sound to activate your parasympathetic system. It's soothing and helps release tension from both mind and body. The left nostril breathing. It's as simple as closing your right nostril and breathing deeply through your left nostril. This helps to immediately activate the parasympathetic system, bringing you into a calm and centered state. Lastly, the mindful awareness of breath. Sometimes all it takes is simply being aware of your breath, noticing its rhythm, paying attention to its flow, and being present in the moment can shift your nervous system into a state of calm. And recently, I realized that this technique is known as interoception. Now, here's where I want to turn the focus to you. We often think of addiction in terms of substances like smoking or alcohol. But there's a deeper, more subtle addiction many of us face, an addiction to adrenaline. Whether it's rushing through tasks, stress eating, or even overthinking, these habits give us that adrenaline rush but come at long term cost. Today, I encourage you to take a moment to reflect. What are your adrenaline driven habits? What are the triggers that push you into an overdrive? And how can you start to shift into a calmer, more focused state? I have found that when I am in that calm parasympathetic zone, my performance is 10 times better, whether it's studying for exams or performing in the ICU. And the first step is being aware. Awareness of your breath, awareness of your habits, awareness of how you're re-showing up each day. As we come to the end of today's episode, I would like to leave you with a question. How often are you relying on your adrenaline to push through? And how can you create more space for calm and focus? As always, thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Superdoc Insights. I hope this introspection gives you some tools to apply in your own life. Until next time, stay balanced, stay healthy, and remember, true performance starts with mastering your inner calm.